We've been looking at a lot of examples of mappings leading up to definition 1.8. And in definition 1.8, we want to discuss the idea of classifying the different maps. So here it says mappings may be classified in terms of the manner in which they pair the elements. So we saw a variety of ways that we can pair the elements up, and it says that this pairing is sometimes called a correspondence. And there are 4 different kinds of correspondences that we can come across here in our class. We have a one-to-one correspondence, which is typically regarded as the nicest and the simplest of all the correspondences. Then we would have a many-to-one correspondence, after that a one-to-many, and then finally a many-to-many type correspondence. And essentially these are listed in the order of complexity. The many-to-many is certainly the most complex, while the one-to-one is the most simple. And these illustrations that are here, I think, will help you to be able to see a little bit better how these types of correspondences are classified. So for the first picture, where we talk about the one-to-one map, if I have a duck, I can have a duck assigned to one person, another duck assigned to a different person, and a third duck assigned to a third person. So every duck only gets used once, and every person only gets used once. This is the idea behind a one-to-one type mapping. Now with the next picture in the top right, we have a many-to-one type mapping. So think about sitting in a classroom, listening to a teacher or an instructor talk about some topic. And you would have all these different students that are all listening to the same instructor. Now the picture has kind of oversimplified it a little bit because they're kind of grouping all the students together. But in reality, if we're thinking about it in terms of how we do our mapping, we would take each one of these students and map them to the exact same instructor. And so this represents many all mapping to one. So if you group them all together, it's many that are mapping to one. And you can see that there are multiple versions of this. There are multiple classrooms on campus, and in every classroom you have many students all listening to one instructor. Now, the way that the arrow is directed is hugely important. In the next picture, I have one-to-many. And in order for me to recognize this as a one-to-many, I would have to start with the person and map that person to each one of these, looks like a pet of some sort, maybe a dog, and that allows me to be able to view this as one individual mapping to many different objects. And so in this case we have several variations of that. And then if you take the many-to-one and the one-to-many map and you combine them together, you get the many-to-many type map. These are the most complex of all the maps because it is a combination of many-to-one and one-to-many.